Relax for a minute and have a smoke break. When you stressed out, light up, have a smoke break. We know you ain't got no cake, you got no weight. Think about it while you take a little smoke break.
What it do, smokers? Ici votre animateur Floss, a.k.a. The Riffleman. Aujourd'hui, j'ai une personne spéciale avec moi aujourd'hui. J'ai Riri qui va être ma co-host aujourd'hui.
Yes.
And we have MothersMary as well. On va laisser Riri se présenter un petit peu, puis après ça, on va attaquer MothersMary.
Bonjour, moi c'est Riri, je suis co-host avec Floss, a.k.a. The Riffleman. Puis on est juste aujourd'hui, je suis intéressé par la conversation, donc je suis venu, moi et Monsieur Little Buddy. Ici on a Monsieur Little Buddy qui est un peu gêné, il va se présenter tantôt. et c'est ça, donc on est venu juste partager l'expérience du smoke break.
Alright, so on va attaquer directement MothersMary's. Hello ladies.
Hi.
So on a Jordana and Annie. So how you doing, girls?
We're good. Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you for coming to our show. So basically I wanted to ask exactly, what is MothersMary's?
It's MothersMary.
Mary.
Yeah, the
Yes.
S is on this one.
Sorry, yeah.
The
yeah.
S
S is on the
there.
first
Mothers.
one. Yeah. Mothers. Sorry.
And it's not apostrophe S because that's another whole.
It's a whole other
Oh,
spiel.
yeah.
Spiel! That's another Jewish word.
Alright, so
Three.
MothersMary.
So basically, what is
What is MothersMary?
yeah.
Okay. So we're a not-for-profit organization based out of Montreal.
Okay.
We essentially support and empower moms that use cannabis. Our mission really is based on challenging the status quo to break the stigmas. We want to create a better future. We're tired of the way things are just going now with the status quo. And that really sort of all stems back to mental health and cannabis. And we're really, empowering moms to talk about that and be their best selves. And we think that cannabis with intention and introspection helps moms be their best selves.
It's a mouthful. Basically, we support and empower moms who like to use cannabis.
Yeah.
And do you find that it has helped you cope with some
Life.
of the challenges that come with maybe the first and second born?
Absolutely. So for me, I actually started using cannabis at the age of 27 for mental health. Yeah, I started late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny because her story is opposite. I only started using cannabis at 27, and it was purely for self-medication. I was on a lot of antidepressants and in a really bad place mentally.
Okay.
And my girlfriends were like, you should really smoke a joint, it'll relax you. And I said, back in the day, I got paranoid. I never really felt good with cannabis. It never, it never made me feel good, So I smoked a joint anyway with my girlfriends. We were in my apartment. It was two people I trusted, and it literally, from the first inhale to the last exhale, my life changed. It was just a big game changer.
So can we call it the inhale, the good shit,
And exhale the bad
bullshit?
shit. Yeah, so that was it. And I was able to come off of high dosages of antidepressants and antipsychotics. Yeah.
Yes, to the future.
Yeah, I will just say that I still am on an antidepressant. It's just a different one. That's it. And I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is to do what you have to do to be your best self. And if that's what I need right now, then that's what I'll take. But the reason I need my antidepressants is because I cannot afford a medical cannabis treatment right now.
How is that?
It's not affordable in
It's
Quebec.
not affordable in Quebec.
It's not
No.
affordable.
What is the price
Legal
exactly?
market. It's because to have a therapeutic dose of cannabis and CBD that you could replace antidepressants or other pain medication, you would be talking up to 100 to 1,000 milligrams of CBD, And when you
Per
think
dose,
about
yeah.
it, that's it. When you think about it, when you have a pharmaceutical medication and it's a strong dose, you have up to 150 milligrams of these tablets, right? So you need 150 milligrams of CBD, but that would literally cost around $400 to $600 if I was to buy it from a licensed producer.
That's per month.
Yeah, per month.
But
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not
Our hands
affordable.
are a bit
Yeah.
tied there.
Yeah.
Well, because now being mothers, there's priorities, right?
Yes,
Exactly. Big time. So going back, as a mom using cannabis, it changed my life at 27, and then when I became pregnant with my first born, I experienced prenatal depression, which is completely different than your normal best friend of depression. You know, it's just it's just different because you're now creating human life inside your body, and you have all of these new pressures and new anxieties and new things that just come up that you never even thought your brain can like you never thought that you would get there, thinking like, how come I didn't think about this before I got pregnant? Why didn't this occur to me then? And so my anxiety turned into depression, and then I had my son. And societal pressures also tell, you know, women that not only are we capable of getting pregnant, no problem, but you're also really capable to breastfeed because you're a woman and that's what you're here to do, right? So when I couldn't perform breastfeeding, I was not able to feed my son through breastfeeding. That led to postpartum depression, which was very isolating and scary. Yeah, it was just horrible. And so at the end of that pregnancy, I got pregnant again. Well, like after my son was born and whatever, and after my second child, my postpartum depression was even worse the first time, and I created a Facebook support group for moms because there's this, I don't know if you're aware of like the mommy group phenomenon, it's like Annie loves to call it. So it's like mommy groups is like the big thing on social media right now, and I was like, there's no way I'm the only mom using cannabis after and during pregnancy. Like I refuse to believe it. Yeah. So I created a group, and this one found me.
Yeah, I was literally looking for like other moms using cannabis while breastfeeding.
You're pregnant, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. For me, it was for breastfeeding, that's it. And then I used it also during postpartum depression. But finding out that that's it, other women are doing this thing that's so taboo that you're ashamed to do and pressured to stop during pregnancy, it's like, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
There's really no other way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we met through the group and realized that there was a bigger movement that we were facing.
Yeah, that we had the same vision.
Yeah. And this was before legalization. We started, we officially became a not-for-profit organization. It's not even a year ago.
Yeah.
It was not even a year ago.
I was about to ask, how did that all happen with you guys also medicating yourself during pregnancy? Were you guys able to be honest with your doctors? Did you guys have support? Because
like a family or?
I did. I was 100% open and honest for both my pregnancies. I think so. I think I think what's important is to actually advocate for yourself, and that's what's important. So doctors, absolutely, and in Quebec, doctors are so. They're so excited and like
they want
giving.
to.
They want to help you. They want to give you what you need. So they're really ready to throw a prescription down your throat. So when I was bedridden with my first child from 18 weeks forward, I couldn't walk, I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand. I had symphysis pubis dysfunction. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, don't even worry. So anyways, I just couldn't walk. It was a very painful pregnancy, and my doctor had no problem upping my antidepressants and prescribing morphine. And morphine, yeah. I was prescribed morphine. Yeah.
Crazy.
All the while, I told my doctors I have been using cannabis since 27. I've been able to come off of Effexor. I've been able to come off of Seroquel. I'm able to like not use a sleeping aid. I think that I'm healthier and safer using cannabis during my pregnancy than taking morphine. And the only person that really supported me, other than my husband, was my grandmother. And she said to me, I think cannabis is much safer than morphine, and you go ahead and you smoke your pod and you do your thing.
She was a smoker?
No.
Okay.
She just has that, you know, it's an old school thing. Yeah, I think it's just like natural versus
exactly. And
pharmaceutical.
Putting it into context, you have to realize that it's not mothers that are not doing this for fun. It's not like they're not, you know, smoking a joint every night for fun or
for
partying. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's women who are faced with a serious dilemma that they're wondering, like, I know these known side effects of pharmaceuticals. There are cases, there are lawsuits with birth defects, and there are the unknowns, but, you know, hundreds and thousands of years of anecdotes don't really talk about defects. So known, unknown, and a lot of them, that's it, turn to cannabis because it feels like a more like natural, safer approach for them, you know, compared to morphine, right?
So which strain usually you consume when you want to like Relax with anxiety or.
Well, for anxiety, I prefer like plant emoji or like Kush, like pink Kush or something like that. I like the heavy indica. Like I don't like to say the indicas because it's like also part of prohibition and it's very broad and I don't find it to be like fair or proper up to date terminology. It's hard. I think that we're stuck right now in a phase where we have no choice but to use indica and sativa to relate to strains and to the flower. But I think we're really finding out that terpenes are a big component. So it also really bothers me when people call THC or CBD chemicals. I'm like, oh my god, what are you doing? They're components. They're not chemicals. Yeah. So it's like, and there's a lot of misinformation on Instagram, which is like a huge cannabis market.
Well,
but there's so much bad
We are here for that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, talk about it to break the stigma, you know. So,
yeah, lots of bad information.
Exactly. So how long you guys not how long, but what exactly you're planning for
the future?
For the future with MothersMary right now?
I'm like, I've been talking the whole time. I'm like, all right, so we have a lot of things on the horizon. We have done some major interviews for some great global news agencies in the most recent. And we're coming out with a product line soon, and we're going to be hoping to host a retreat at some point this year. And we're taking over Instagram. One MothersMary ambassador at a time. And we're supporting moms and we're changing lives every day. And I don't think that ever really comes to a stop. I have some pretty big goals. We want to go to Parliament. We want to meet big people and make big changes. And
kick ass.
Yeah, and like change the way that moms are treated after they birth human beings, and change, the ways that postpartum care is being taken care of, the way women are being looked at in society, and just the pressures of moms every day. Like I said, I couldn't breastfeed my son. That put me into a depression. Like that's fucked up. Sorry. Like that's really messed up. Like that's not normal. Like how can you fall into such a depression because your nurses, your doctors, everyone's telling you breastfeeding is the best for your child, and you're not physically capable to do that? You feel this big. You feel worthless. You feel like a failure. You just delivered a human being into this world, but you can't feed that human. It's degrading, but it's not, and it shouldn't be, and it's bullshit. That's, formula's there for a reason. Like, let's just use it and like call it what it is and feed your child and everyone be happy and healthy. Like,
Cool.
So you, Annie, what do you think about that? You've been here.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I feel like I've been talking so much.
She's basically the brains behind the whole.
Yeah, Jordana's more public out there, but.
Okay.
No, definitely.
You're more social media.
So what is your role?
That's it. So basically, I'm like her right hand like woman. You know what I mean? So Jordana's very like community oriented, and I think when I met her, I just realized like. That so we align
a little bit about you guys and on your email, not in email, your website. But I seen that you went and you were introduced from when she started the.
Exactly. So yes, like I mentioned before, I was looking for information.
Facebook, right?
That's it. I was looking for information while I was breastfeeding. I was going to use cannabis because. That's it. I have used cannabis ever since I was like, I discovered it, like a love at first sight at 15, and I've been self-medicating since then. For insomnia. Yeah, 15, that's it, for insomnia and anxiety. And then
developing brain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I think I'm pretty smart, but anyway. I'm like, not sure my brain suffered, but who knows, maybe, anyways, I'm like, maybe that's where part of mental illness comes from.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like,
I'll never know, but it's just after having children, my doctor, that's it, same, had no problem being like, okay, let me prescribe you your pills for insomnia again. And I was like, what's the matter with you? Like, pre-kids, I was groggy the next morning driving to work, right?
Okay.
So how do you expect me to be waking up during the middle of the night to feed my kid and taking these sleeping pills? Like, I'm knocked out cold. Like, that just doesn't make sense. So I got a medical cannabis license, and that's it. I was looking for other moms who were doing the same as me. And meeting Jordana, we just realized that we both sort of had the same vision to want to, that's it, change the world. and really sort of enough of the stigmas, enough of the people that just say like it is because it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like I've never been one to sort of accept things just because that's the way they are. I'm like, no, but that's bullshit. I'm like, I'm gonna tell you that that's bullshit, and I, you know,
challenge people.
Yeah,
we're very
we really
challenging.
do.
Like,
yeah. So that's it. And for me, it's I come from a pharmaceutical background, and I really have always wanted to help people. And then this is sort of realizing cannabis, prohibition, and corporations and pharma and all of that stuff. It opened my eyes, and I was like, I want to take all of that knowledge and bring it over to the cannabis industry, you know? And I guess that's where MothersMary was born when we sort of met there. And like she said, we have a really great online presence, and we built their brand, and we are ready to take it to the community because that's what moms need. And that's, I think, the sort of the natural place that we're going to take the next step.
Are you guys going to do webinars or?
Better. We'd love to do workshops. We'd love to do
Exactly,
community
workshop,
events. We want to have
conferences,
cannabis 101s.
Yeah.
We definitely want to bring, you know,
Cooking.
what we've been doing. Yeah, everything. Like moms need to know how to keep your kids safe, how to properly use cannabis. I mean, we have
Yes,
over
very
1,800
important.
moms. Moms don't know that if you eat this, like just ingest it, that you're not gonna get high. Moms don't know that a cannabis bath bomb doesn't get you high. Like people don't know what cannabis does, how it works, and we have the ability through a great community that we built to teach moms everything they need to know about cannabis. And we're not crusaders, we're not, you know, going into the public and protesting and like, not yet anyway. But we're not like, I'm not going into other mommy groups and like, you know, trying to change people's minds. We're here to support the people who believe in the cause, who believe in the mother plant, and who are here to just, you know, be supported. They need the support, so start there.
And may I ask, on a social standpoint, before legalization and after, since you guys have been there before, right? Do you feel a big difference? Do you feel a shift? Do you feel the shift is easier? Do you feel...
It's like hard to hear like
People are like,
legalization
oh my God,
thrown
you're
around.
ready, you smoke, like...
Yeah, I
You
know.
still get that a lot. Because I mean, you're still...
Honestly, like it's hard because I am who I am, and I've been, like I said, I was pregnant smoking, and I was like pretty vocal about it. Like I wasn't gonna, if you didn't want to be my friend because you thought I was harming myself and my child, then peace out. There's the door. I'm gonna do what's good for me, and I think that legalization is a really loose term for what's going on in Canada.
Yes.
I think it's more like Prohibition 2.0.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's harder, you know, like before
Really
you could
hard.
smoke a joint in your car on the highway and not really worry. Now there's no way, like, especially as a mother, car seats in my car, I'm like, no, like, you know, I like to smoke that joint before going to daycare to pick up my kids because let's face it, that's when I need to relax the most is when I'm coming, like taking off my work hat and then putting on my mom hat.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, you
Shift
know,
number two.
that's
Shift
it.
number two, that's
you
what I
want
always
to
call
medicate, whether it's smoking a joint, whether it's popping a gummy, whether it's like however you need to medicate,
Edibles,
whatever.
Whatever.
You can't just hop into your car and drive down the road now. There's fear, you know, like I'm very fearful that if I get pulled over and there's suspicion, they're going to impound my car, they're going to see that there's car seats, they're going to call CPS. It's like, you know, it's bad. That wasn't how it was before. It's bad.
It kind of all depends like on what cop you're going to get that day. And of course, this is the most extreme situation, which is just, you know, the brain of an anxious mom. But I mean, it's like, that's it. You just, the laws are so ambiguous and they're so complicated that it really depends what cop you're going to get that day, you know, and it's just very, very unfair, very uncertain times. It's putting medical patients in an awkward situation where that's it. They know it makes them feel better. It allows them to drive better, but there's all this like stress around getting caught, you know? So we're still kind of in this prohibition era where the worst thing about like weed is getting caught with it, you know?
Yeah.
So getting caught
And
using it, you know?
That's it. And like we're not allowed to like buy clothes that have
Cannabis.
Like freedom of, what happened
Like
to freedom
what?
of expression?
I had to change my logo probably.
Well, that's what
we're
thinking.
changing
We're
our logo
thinking.
too. We have to. Well, we're not changing it. We're modifying.
Modify.
Yeah, we're gonna
I'm
modify.
saying that our logo is having plastic surgery to fit into society.
That's
what's
right.
happening.
That's right.
That's what's happening
right.
to our
It's
logo
some
right
social
now.
conditioning right now.
Yeah.
We're all about breaking those molds, man. It's like that's it. And think about it. Like we're raising babies, and we both have 3-year-olds and 1-year-olds, and you know, my tray is always, you know, my kids
Is
see
it-
me roll. My kids,
Exactly.
oh yeah, they
Yeah,
love
yeah.
the
In
smell.
front.
They
Okay.
know it's mommy's medicine. They know not to touch it. But it's so crazy to think about the fact that how I grew up and how my babies are going to be growing up viewing cannabis and the way that it just is. It's just like no big deal.
It's the
Mom's
most
medicine.
honest way to do it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I
That's
think
it.
it is.
And is there any other
Yeah.
better way to live your life than
Yeah.
through honesty?
Honesty, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that if you approach it that way, it sort of naturally leads into
I mean, honesty is the best
No,
policy.
it's
So
the best
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it leads to having honest conversation with your children when they get to that age about using
Well,
cannabis.
exactly, because now nobody knows, right? Everybody's like, well, I smoke, and what am I going to tell my kid, right? But I mean,
Exactly.
it's a question of explaining to your kid, you know.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah,
But
you
I
gotta
also
do it.
did. But I also did hard drugs growing up. Like
No,
when
but
I, you
either
know what I
or,
mean. Like
it's a
you have
question
to
of
give
taking
that.
self-accountability, right?
That's it, exactly.
And it's about having those conversations
Exactly.
and having them in schools, having them
Exactly.
so that it's.
Proper drug education.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
The same
Not
way you would see a kid
pretending-
with a bottle, and if he's 8, a stranger would stop him and ask what's up, right? So.
I'd be really concerned if there was an 8-year-old with a Mickey. I don't know. I'd be like,
It happens.
start the car, take the kid.
So, what would you like to say to the audience watching
Yes.
Smoke
Mother's Mary's
Mother's
message to
Mary's
the world.
To the world.
Oh my God, our message to the world.
It's okay to be yourself. And like if people are gonna hate you, they're not your people. You know?
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you're just that, if you're gonna have pink hair, if you're gonna I was gonna say something super
I
inappropriate.
know.
But like whatever
Yeah,
you're
it's
into, it doesn't matter, you know, if it's boys, girls, or trans, or if you're, you know, pink or purple or blue or like it doesn't matter. Just like live your best self and be conscious of the fact that like, you know, especially as a mother, like you're raising the future. Like it's literally the future's in your hands. So you better do something good with that.
Exactly.
You know?
You have to be
Something positive.
authentic.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have to be authentic in all that you do, and then if you are, then you can, you know, sort of stand up to you can take on the world, right? You can stand up to the hate. You can, you know, stand up to people who might question what you're doing. It just drives you, right? If you're really being authentic and true to what you're doing.
Ça, c'est le mot de la fin. J'aime ça. J'aime les mots positifs. Be true to yourself. You understand? So, we had MothersMary's. On avait Jordana. And Jordana. And Annie. And we had the co-host Riri. Et on avait aka Floss. Aka the Reeferman. Yeah, I'm gonna leave you on this note, people. Let's take a smoke break. Cha-cha.
You're so cute.
What it do, smokers? Merci d'avoir écouté l'épisode. En passant, les amis, si vous voulez vous abonner, cliquez ici. Et si vous voulez regarder mes anciens épisodes, cliquez là. Puis en passant dans la description, il y aura les tags des personnes qui ont participé dans mon épisode. Vous pouvez aller les follow